Hey everybody, thanks for watching the Scouting Report on SoundersFC.com. Here with Steve Zakuani, I'm Nick Firchau, and we're previewing the Seattle Sounders' first Cascadia Cup match of the new year, going up against the Vancouver Whitecaps on Saturday night, 7 p.m. Pacific on Q13 Fox, Univision in Seattle, and on the radio on Cairo FM 97.3 and El Rey 1360 AM. Steve, the Sounders come into this 2 losses in their first 2 MLS games this season. They haven't done a ton offensively, especially from the run of play, and a lot has to do with Clint Dempsey. What's going on?
Yeah, Nick, to start the season, we're seeing Clint Dempsey play extremely deep. There's been a couple games, a few times during the games where he's receiving the ball with his back to goal in his own half, 60, 70 yards from goal. And Dempsey's a very good player, but that's not where you want him. Anytime he gets the ball in his own half, that's good news for Vancouver. You want Clint Dempsey, for me, centrally, close to the goal, around the box. It's where he's done his best work. The more he can be there and have guys running off him, being the facilitator, the creator, the better the Sounders will be. Dempsey so far has struggled out wide because he's getting double teamed and triple teamed, and he must be much closer to the goal and get some shots on goal.
Dempsey obviously scored 2 goals during the first leg of that CONCACAF Champions League quarterfinal series against Club America, but has not scored a goal from the run of play. No forwards on this team have scored from the run of play in MLS so far this season for the Sounders. And you take a look at this heat map, the comparison from the 2015 regular season opener against the New England Revolution, a 3-0 win for the Sounders, and a 1-0 loss against Sporting Kansas City in 2016. Look how far, Steve, he is back. He's nowhere near the goal.
No, he's not. And the main difference is you see in the heat map versus New England in 2015, he's all over the field. He starts centrally. I don't mind Dempsey going out to the left, out to the right, coming back, as long as he starts centrally. When he starts on the left, he's very, very limited to one side of the field, and he's very easy to mark. And so his movement in that game against New England 2 years ago was phenomenal. He scored a goal, was all over the field, and against Sporting Kansas City, so many touches back in his own half, and that's not good for the Sounders. So the more Dempsey can be around the box, around the goal, and get some shots off, because he's not had a shot on goal from the run of play even, so you can't score that way. Seattle need him to get going, and the more central he is, the better they'll be.
Okay, so some issues there for the Seattle Sounders and Clint Dempsey up top. Luckily, they're going up against a Whitecaps team that does not necessarily pride itself on its defense. They are a more offensive-minded team. They've given up 5 goals in the first 2 games in MLS this season, and they are a counterattack team, Steve. A lot of speed here. They scored 5 goals off the counterattack in 2015. That's more than any other team in MLS, and 39% of the time they went down the left flank. This is what they like to do. Yes. How do you describe it? How do you defend against it?
Speed, speed, speed. That's what these guys do. And the reason to go on the left is because they have Kokuta Mane. He's a very, very fast young player. Feels like he's been in the league forever and he's still probably only 18 or something. But he's an extremely fast player. And what Vancouver does is they absorb a lot of pressure. They don't want to possess the ball. They don't want to keep the ball. They don't want to pass it around. They want you to have the ball. And when you attack them, the second you lose it, they're going the other way. They have Teixeira on the right-hand side and Morales pulling the string centrally. And Seattle have to be very, very careful of that. As soon as the Sounders lose the ball, they need everybody back. The best way to stop a counter-attack is to defend right away. If you can win the ball back in that first 3 to 5 seconds, you have a better chance. If you don't, and you allow Vancouver to get out, you're not catching them. And that's how they score most of the goals. Defensively, they're very suspect. Not great, but they can definitely hurt you going forward, and that's what they want to do.
Some potential for some big offensive explosives here on Saturday night. 7 p.m. Pacific on Q13 Fox, Univision Seattle, Cairo 97.3 FM, and El Rey 1360 AM. For Steve Zakuani, I'm Nick Firchau. Thanks for watching the Scouting Report.